Thinking of getting a scaly sidekick? Whether you want to get a bearded dragon who hates his veggies, or a gecko who has a messed up sleep schedule just like me. Today we're going to dive into the top 10 beginner reptile keeper questions with some answers that won't make you hiss. Let's go. Question number 1. What's the best reptile for you? The age-old question. The reptile equivalent of what's the best starter Pokemon. My recommendations for beginner reptiles, you're going to start with bearded dragon, crested geckos, milk snakes or king snakes, or dart frogs. Now if you go with the bearded dragon, you're going to be looking at something that's friendly, hardy, loves to chill out on your shoulder, larger animal, but still something you can actually pet and have around. Crested geckos like this guy right here, on the other hand, are super low maintenance, don't mind being handled as you can see, and would rather not be pet like a bearded dragon. As you can see, not all of them care. In my opinion, crested geckos are definitely going to come in the most variety, colors, and pattern. Another great option are milk snakes. These guys are great eaters, super handleable, super active as well. And they're actually, don't get that large. You're going to stay around 4 to 6 feet. And then last, dart frogs, in my opinion, are going to be the lowest maintenance, besides some misting every once in a while. They come in hundreds of colors, great display animals. So if you don't want something you can hold, that may be your best bet. And pro tip number 1, don't get an Asian water monitor unless you want a dinosaur for a roommate that you have to clean up after. Question number 2. Do reptiles like being handled? Some do, some don't. The majority of reptiles really will tolerate handling. So the question really becomes, how much handling? Things like mountain horn dragons are great for handling. They'll just hang out on your shoulder, chill for hours, won't even really move. Ball pythons are another great example that'll just want to hang out with you, sit on the couch, sit there and watch your favorite YouTube channel.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't.
Things like crested geckos like this guy here do good with some tiny pets handling. He does pretty good. You can see him running around a little bit here, but more so with short bursts. They're going to want to crawl around, explore, be up somewhere high. And then you got things like tokay geckos. These things are little tiny demons. They'll sit there and just scream at you with their mouth open. You see this black void just ready to attack. If there was a dating profile for reptiles, 90% of them would say, not into clingy people, no touchy unless I say so. Number 3, what do I feed them? This depends on what reptile you end up getting, but a good rule of thumb is a variety will always be best. So here's the general idea. Insectivores, you want to stick with crickets, mealworms, dubia roaches, added some little treats like waxworms and hornworms every once in a while. Herbivores, you're going to want to do your leafy greens, collard greens, mustard greens, dandelion, squash, carrots, zucchini, occasional fruit. Best to avoid anything with citrus or iceberg lettuce. That thing's really just water. Although your bearded dragon will leave a 1-star review of this saying, Mom says no bugs until I eat my carrots. Carnivores like monitors and snakes, you're going to want to stick with mice, rats. You could do even chicken for some of them, quail, shrimp, and in my opinion, frozen thawed is always best to avoid any harm to your animal. And lastly, no matter what you have, you don't want to forget your supplements like calciums and multivitamins. You haven't really known judgment until your bearded dragon rejects your freshly made salad mix every day. Question number 4. How often do they eat? If you have a baby, you're typically going to be feeding him about once a day, if not every other day. Adults of most species are going to be eating a few times a week. Most snakes are going to be about once a week. You may have occasional snakes that will go a little bit longer. Basically, intermittent fasting gurus of the animal kingdom. And for some example, my geckos and mountain horn dragons, I feed typically 2 to 3 times a week. Just be sure to do the proper research to avoid any overfeeding on your part. Hell, my animals eat better than I do half the time, let's be real. Question number 5. What kind of tools or enclosure do I need to get? The short answer is, depends on the species. Better answer, biggest one you can possibly provide. Here we're all about providing the largest possible enclosures we can. Now that doesn't necessarily mean providing a 20-gallon enclosure to your adult bearded dragon because that's all the room you have. You want to make sure you give them some adequate space. But for general rule of thumb, bigger is always better. Secure lids, sliding lids for your snakes so nobody escapes, which leads us into proper lighting and humidity. You always want to make sure you provide that for your reptiles so they're not just basically stuck camping in the wrong climate. The best tools that I could tell you to get, supplements, feeding tongs, feeding bowls, always have extras, and a temperature and humidity gauges. You can't just put a lizard in a shoebox, call it a terrarium. Pretty sure that's a prime in like 7 dimensions or something. Number 6. Do reptiles need heat and UVB or heating pads? Yeah, the short answer is yes. Reptiles don't produce their own body heat, and you will need to provide external warmth, like scaly little solar panels, Some reptiles may be okay at room temperature, like your crested geckos, but most will need some kind of light or heating pad to give them some warmth. UVB should also be provided to almost every reptile in some capacity. UVB should also be provided to every reptile in some capacity. This helps them absorb calcium and prevent metabolic bone disease, which sounds exactly as bad as it is. And to check what UVB range your reptile needs, make sure to Google your reptile species plus Ferguson zone. That should correspond to almost any reptile bulb on the market. Number 7. How often should I clean the enclosure? What you want to do is you want to spot clean daily. Be sure to take the time throughout the day and just walk through, grab some paper towels, spot clean. Anytime there's any poop, grab it out. And then on top of that, you want to fully clean the enclosure every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your animal, depending on how dirty they get it as well. Yes, your reptile will poop in the enclosure after every time you clean it, so just be prepared for that. Bioactive enclosures are also a great choice that allows you to get some bugs and some cleanup crew in there that'll eat any food, any waste, any poop in there, but take that with a caveat. That will be some maintenance required, some trimming of plants, or maybe some overgrowth of anything else that you want to take care of. I can already see your bearded dragons. That's a nice water bowl. Be ashamed if someone pooped in it over there. Question number 8. How do I tell if my reptile is shedding? Shedding is normal. Snakes will typically go blue, referring to the blue haze in their eyes that they'll get. But all reptiles will begin to get a dull in their color and possibly be less accepting of food as well. Some species like geckos have a tendency to eat their sheds, so you may not even see it. It's a good source of calcium for them, so don't worry about that either. The only thing to know with shedding is be sure to watch problem areas like eye caps, fingers, and tails. As long as you make sure you're providing the proper humidity, everything should be smooth. If you have any problems, a quick soak and a lukewarm bath should take care of any issues for you. When my reptile shed is called self-care. When I shed, I got dandruff and bad skin. Question number 9. My reptile's not eating. What do I do? Whoa. Don't panic. Reptiles do go off food for a variety of different reasons. Stress, shedding, acclimating to a new environment, and sometimes even brumation, kind of like a reptile hibernation. Check your husband G-straps first to be sure you're hitting all the marks before you have any kind of panic attack. I'm sure you're doing everything just fine. Just be patient. Just know that they're dramatic. You move a rock, you change something in the enclosure, there's a hunger strike coming. Just be okay with it. Question number 10. Where should I buy my reptile? My biggest rule of thumb is don't buy from those big box stores. I'm not going to name names, but you know who they are. Then go find a local reptile store. Go talk to some of their employees about some of your favorite reptiles that you're interested in. Get some insight, get some of their insight, and then buy something from them. Go to a local expo, get something from there. You'll have an amazing time. Alternatively, you can go online, do a quick Google search, find something. It's not my favorite because you're not going to be able to see and review your animals as closely, but there's some great breeders out there that breed almost everything under the sun. Things like Morph Market are a great option to get started with. Morph Market, sponsor me. Bonus question, question number 11. Where can I get all my reptile info and facts? Well, glad you asked. Right here. Subscribe right here to 1.0 Exotics. Here we push out new reptile videos all the time. Things from care guides, tips and tricks, vlogs, deep dives into systems like lighting and misting. So please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future content from us. And if you're still with us, you're probably halfway there to becoming a full-blown reptile nerd just like me. And let me be the first one to say, welcome to the club. If you like this kind of content, drop a like down below, subscribe if this video is helpful, and drop your burning questions about reptiles down below in the comments. Until next time, stay scaly, squad.